When I started Tuesday morning, the wind was calm and the temperature mild. I knew there was a cold front coming, but I hoped to stay south of it. On the way to the Sunshine Skyway, I passed a tug and tow headed up the bay. With the Skyway behind me, I could see Mullet Key and Egmont Key off the starboard bow. I was headed for the bulkhead inside of Anna Maria Key. Motoring in calm water, I was making 5 knots. Sundance is a great coastal cruising boat with a roomy cockpit and a spacious cabin. A dinette table sits on the bridge deck. The port hull houses the navigation station. The galley is in the starboard hull. Forward of the galley is the main stateroom with a hanging locker and a queen-sized berth. There's room on the cabinet top for charging all my personal electronic devices. Aft of the galley is a cabin which I use for storage. The little propane refrigerator sits on the bridge deck. I didn't have much in it for this cruise, just some eggs, cabbage, and butter. Here's a closer look at the navigation station in the port hull. I keep an old paper chart book for reference, but mostly I navigate with this laptop running OpenCPN, a free chart plotter program. It's connected to a GPS receiver and an AIS receiver, so Sundance and vessels with AIS transmitters have their positions plotted on the chart. The head compartment has a portable toilet, a sink, and a propane water heater. There's a shower hose which connects to the sink faucet. The port hull has an aft cabin that mirrors the one on the starboard side, except I keep it empty. Right after the bulkhead, the Anna Maria and Cortez bascule bridges open on a schedule. Since the weather was favorable, I went out to the Gulf of Mexico through Longboat Pass. Sailing down the Gulf avoids the narrow channels and many bridges of the Intracoastal Waterway. There's not much scenery along that route, though. There was a light breeze from the west, so I rolled out the Genoa jib and added half a knot to my speed for a while. I came in at Venice Inlet and docked at the park. For years, that was a favorite overnight stop for me, but a new policy prohibits overnight docking. Before I moved Sundance to anchor, I walked down to the Crow's Nest Marina, where this huge yacht was docked. Wednesday, I headed south down the ICW. This stretch just south of Venice is very canal-like. The cold weather kept the traffic down, so there weren't too many motorboat waits to endure. As the waterway enters Lemon Bay, the scenery gets more interesting. The next two bridges open on demand. With an experienced bridge tender and good communication, it isn't even necessary to slow down. It was getting cold and windy, so I left the channel at Englewood and anchored before the sun went down. Thursday morning started out quite cold, with a strong north wind helping me along. I was glad to be in the ICW's protected water. At the south end of Lemon Bay, a ferry crosses to Don Pedro Island. This stretch of the waterway is highly developed. After the Gasparilla Island swing bridge, the shoreline is not so overdeveloped. I anchored overnight in Pelican Bay. A new sandbar made a very well-protected harbor for shoal draft boats. There were only 5 other boats anchored in Pelican Bay. One was near me, the other 4 were widely spaced around the bay. Friday afternoon, I decided to head home. There would be one day of southerly winds before the next cold front came through. I waited for the Don Pedro Island ferries to cross the channel. It was getting dark as I approached Venice. I stopped in Venice just long enough to fix supper. Bridges open on demand at night, so I thought I would get a couple of them behind me before I pulled out of the channel and anchored for the night. This is the community around the Stickney Point Bridge. I kept going, partly to take advantage of the calm conditions, and partly because I enjoyed the challenge of navigating the ICW at night. By the time I passed through the Cortez and Anna Maria bridges, I was in the wide waters of Tampa Bay, so I kept going even though it wasn't calm anymore. Sundance made good time through the choppy water, and I arrived home at 0600.